Hey everyone, well, we'll see about that, and welcome to this announcement. At the start, I wanted to just tell a little story, so let's go back in time to 2012. That was the year when I discovered webcomics, and I ended up being a semi-regular reader of a lot of them, probably nearly a dozen, but the three which influenced me the most were Two Kinds, House Pets, and Uh-Oh, It's a Dinosaur. So I was influenced so strongly that I wanted to make my own. I'd been making comics my whole life, basically, since I was 7, and the main set of characters that I liked to document the adventures of was Brownie the dog and his various allies, his various enemies, and all the adventures they got up to. But the webcomic would be about them, of course, naturally, and it would continue the ongoing story, which wasn't the best idea, because immediately someone who starts reading the webcomic but hasn't seen all of the other ones that I'd done previously on paper would have been really confused. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. Suffice to say, the webcomic didn't pan out, and actually the domain finally expired for good just earlier this year. But it still has a pretty big bearing on what happened later when I decided to make a YouTube account on the 1st of December 2012. You see, I had to come up with a name for myself, and my thought process was as follows. Well, this webcomic was indeed a comic, and the main character's name was Brownie, so you could say that it was a Brownie comic. And I was the writer of this Brownie comic. So that made me Brownie comic writer. That seemed like a great idea at the time, but, you know, as with all online names, I stopped liking it so much as time went on. It just stopped representing me nearly as well, and it just started to sound dumb to me. A few months later, on the 11th of February 2013, I made my DeviantArt account and gave it the same name. So then, from then on, I just started using that name for every site that I signed up to. But before long, I mean, you know, the deciding I didn't like the name didn't take very long, really. I just kind of stopped thinking the comic was a good idea, and I gave up on it for good before the end of 2014. So where did that leave me? Well, this name is so clunky and awkward. It's too long for some sites because of the character limit, and it's hard for me to pronounce, which is great when I actually eventually decided to do something with my YouTube channel. So I always ended up saying something more like Brownie Comic Writer. And I always thought of myself as BCW for short. But naturally, people will look at that and then call me Brownie. But that's not me. That's the character from the comic which I was a writer of. So I was aware of this issue for some time. It's been bothering me for a couple of years at least. But the problem was I could never think of a replacement. I just couldn't imagine myself going by any other name. But recently something happened. Something else that hovered over me for a couple of years was the idea of a persona. Again, I would like to discuss that in depth sometime, but for now, I'll just say that I couldn't think of a design for ages. I couldn't think of something that would really represent me. I was always more of a casual furry. Never felt like I strongly identified with any kind of animal, so I couldn't decide a species, didn't know what to do for the design. But in August this year, I felt the urge to try again and actually managed to come up with something finally. At the time, it didn't immediately occur to me that that would help me come up with a new name, but it did kind of remind me of the problem. Now since this... Excuse me, Mr. Carr. So this guy was, I guess a lizard, kind of. He's a bit dragony, maybe a bit raptor-y as well, but lizard for the most part. So I, shortly after creating him, started referring to myself as Linzer or Linzerd. You know, kind of an affectionate, daft way of saying lizard, like sneck is to snake. But then it hit me. This was perfect. I could use that for my new name. The persona actually gave me some kind of online identity to use as a baseline. So after looking at his main colour, green, I thought GreenLinzerd could make a good name. Snappy, easy to pronounce, actually representative of me. It's just an all-round winner, you know? So I took advantage of my unlimited name changes on YouTube a couple of months ago and tried the name out for a bit and decided I liked it. But if I decided that I liked it a couple of months ago, then why haven't I changed the name yet? Well, excuse me, Mr. Carr. It's all about my video backlog. First, Heart Gold. I knew that it would take a lot of work to finish, but I still managed to underestimate it quite severely. I'm still only partway through the first episode that needs doing, and only on the animatic stage. And of course I call myself Brownie Comic Writer in the intro of those 4 episodes. So the idea was maybe I could change my name officially once those were finished and uploaded. But that's not all. Are you serious? In summer I recorded a lot of episodes of Fire Red Ultra Randomized. In fact, only the finale still needs to be recorded at this point. But that makes 18 videos of me saying, "Good afternoon everyone, I'm Brownie Comic Writer and welcome back." Good afternoon everyone, I'm Brownie Comic Writer, I'm a Brownie Comic Writer, Brownie Comic Writer, Brownie Comic Writer, Brownie Comic Writer, Brownie Comic Writer. Yeah. I wanted to change my name on DeviantArt and YouTube at the same time for, I don't know, the sake of branding, I guess. But YouTube would be holding DeviantArt up for goodness knows how many months if I waited until these complicated video projects were finished. But this month I decided that I would change it for the new year. It seemed like a good time. For the Hot Gold videos, I'm fine with just keeping the old name on them, just like I'm keeping the old editing for the most part. They are essentially old videos that just needed some extra stuff doing for them. Fire Red, however, I will have to do something different. Whether that be leaving the name by itself as it is, and just sticking a new intro on the beginning, or seriously trying to overdub the intro of each of those 18 videos, which would be impossible. Good afternoon everyone, I'm GreenLinzerd and welcome back. Or just use a sound clip of myself going, GreenLinzerd, for everyone. Good afternoon everyone, I'm GreenLinzerd and welcome back. I'm sure that won't get annoying. It just remains to be seen. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead as GreenLinzerd. As for my, I don't know, 10 plus accounts on various sites going by the old name, some of those sites will allow me to change the name, some don't really matter if the name is wrong, and the rest I can just make a new account. The one big exception is for Affinity, where they've apparently had changeable usernames on the waiting list for years. But that site looks and feels like it's stuck in 2005 anyway, so who knows. Oh snap! Shade thrown! So anyway, good afternoon everyone, I'm GreenLinzerd. See you in 2019 for more Spyro Into the Dragonfly, and hopefully the ends of Heart Gold and Fire Red as well. Hope to see you there. Good night everybody.